you describe the identity of your team?
I don't know if it's identity or not. I just think we're a hardworking bunch right now. And I think everybody's kind of bought into that. So maybe that's simple as I'll put it, is they're just a hardworking team.
Dan Bodar described you as the group as a bunch of hungry bastards. Is that a fair way of describing it?
I don't know. Sure. I mean, that's at the end of the day. If you come to work every day and you're someone that takes pride in being hard to play against, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. So I think our guys have done a good job of learning how to do that over the start of the year, and a lot of that credit would go to our older players, because if they're not in on it, it does not work. So the challenge now is to make sure you stay consistent with it. It's not an easy thing to do.
Does Dan have to put money in a swear jar for saying that, or is he okay?
I don't know if the B word's a swear. I'm not quite sure. We might let him off the hook there.
Does he get the start tomorrow, or are you willing to
we'll see. There's a pretty good chance. Yeah.
How does an afternoon start change your sort of routine as a coach?
Doesn't really. The only really change is the meetings that we have with the players. Everything is always done the day before for the most part, and we review it in the morning. So as a coaching staff, we'll get up and get here earlier to make sure that we're all set with what we want to do and how we want to prepare or present to the players, and then it's play the game like normal. Yeah.
You're dumb. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Finish up with.
One of the things you mentioned last night was Yegor Sharangovic's performance and what maybe getting a couple points would do. Just sort of overall, what did you see out of him last night?
I felt like he was the guy that we saw at the end of the year, where he controlled the play a lot. He had the speed of his game was there again, and he looked like the threat to shoot every time he was on the ice. Like, you felt like something was going to happen again with him last night. So you could almost sense it coming a little bit with some of his most recent games. And as we talked about, he's been juggled around a little bit in the middle of the ice, to the wing, to right side, left side. He's been all over the place. So now hopefully is an opportunity to stay with a certain group of guys and get comfortable there again, because what we saw from him last night is the Sharon that we know and love.
We've all seen the movie a million times, where a good team like the Rangers gets badly outplayed, falls behind, and then flips the switch, ties it, and runs away with the game. How impressed were you with the maturity of your team and how they responded to those two quick goals?
It's been the same for our team for the first number of games. We've played behind a lot, so they've done it before, so it's not really a surprise for us that they're willing to stick with it. As I mentioned last night, I thought the talk in the room was good after giving up those quick goals at the end of the second period, because I think they knew they were playing well. And if they stuck with what they were doing, they were going to get a chance at some point to score a goal and win a game, and that's what they did.
My question was much along the line of Willsie's. Just in that moment when they score the two goals, you guys are dominating them. Do you guys have to say anything on the bench as a coaching staff, or is it already to the point with this group where you can just leave it mum and just go after it?
Nothing was really said on the bench. I mean, sometimes coaches will bark, but there was nothing specific that was said at that time. For me, it's in the room, because our coach's office isn't that close, but you can hear things. And you're always worried as a coach if there's nothing coming from the room, but it was noisy. So for me, I felt like we were just fine. So we touched on a few corrections that we wanted to have and reminded them how we had to play, and that was it. So I felt comfortable with it last night, because there was still the energy and the right talk coming from the dressing room.
Younger guys have such a special player.
He's got a motor that just keeps on going. His feet are always moving, and he's a high-end skilled player. But the one thing that I think makes him kind of maybe one of the top players in the league right now is the willingness to get involved in the hard parts of the game. So he's got an elite skill set, but he's also never shies away from anything. So he's an impressive player.
I was hoping to touch on your young guys. We see the skill, and you've talked about the intelligence. We see that too, but how much does it mean to have them get rewarded for that, to kind of live that, to build off of knowing what to do?
Yeah. Offensively, or are you talking?
Offensively.
Yeah.
Well, kind of the whole package leading to that, I guess.
Yeah. I just, for me with the young guys, I want them to know that they can do what they do best, and that's it. So we try to put them in positions for where they can succeed. Now, a lot of what we're asking of them is to make sure they're good 200-foot players. So they have to find their way. Like if we're talking about Matty or Connor last night, they have to find their way within that to do what they do really well, and that's generate offense. And I think both guys have been really fairly consistent with that this year. Connor's been snake bitten. It was nice to see him score last night, but continue to really do what he's doing and keep the belief in his ability, while at the same time keep getting better with the stuff that the coaches like.
In the past, you and other coaches have said we have to make Scotiabank Saddledome a tough place to play.
Yeah.
You have a chance to sweep a 4-game homestand tomorrow. Do you feel like your team has done that this season? And if so, what have they done to make it a tough spot?
I think it's just the way we've played the game. We have a great crowd. We have great energy in the building this year, I find. And when we're skating and playing to the level that we think we can play at, there's quite a bit of juice in the building that I think the team feeds off of. I don't really think it's much more than that. So for us to do this, we have a great challenge. I think Minnesota is one of the best teams in the league, and it'll be a fun afternoon when we do things the right way.
Are there any thoughts going through your head when that puck isn't going in the empty net last night?
Oh yeah, the one off the post, I thought for sure it's coming back on us, because that's the way the game works sometimes. And it was like a minute of like, really, are we going to do this here? But thankfully, I thought the guys settled down and they checked well. Yeah.
Swear jar moment.
Could have been. Okay.